that he's wasted his career there. He's trophyless and he'll retire soon.
Wait.
The question is, should you leave your boyfriend? The answer is yes. You were thinking that's racist though. I'm Aaron,
I'm Liam.
and this is The Other Half. Welcome back to another episode, and today we're chatting about one or two things that's been bothering Liam more specifically than me. But sometimes in life you wonder, are you wrong for feeling a certain way? Like you don't know how to react in a specific situation.
And I can't exactly say, am I this type? Because apparently I am that person in general.
Yeah. So we're gonna look at some scenarios and see who's right, who's wrong. Is it fair? It's basically some takes, some hot takes, and yeah, what do we feel about it? So,
and if there's any comments, please.
let us know what's your feeling on this. Okay, so first one, on a club level, I've always supported Bayern Munich, and on the World Cup level, my country when we qualify. Okay, this year though, I'm rooting for England because of Harry Kane. What is your country though? Anyway, some of my friends from university saw me following the England account on Twitter and asked me about it. They got quite upset with me and said I should be more loyal to my country. I vow to thee, my country.
Can we just take a moment quickly now?
I would love to know what this person's country
who's
is.
Your country? And secondly, who leaves their country for England? Of all the countries.
Have you not seen what England's trophy looks like?
They're the most
it's not coming home. Who decided that the World Cup's home is England?
I don't know.
It's coming home. It's coming home.
Yes.
Do you know why? Colonialization. Colonialization. That is why, because England made the whole world their home. Yeah, that might be a bit, but it's true though. Anyway, so support Bayern. Okay, firstly, who supports Bayern? Let's say this is a South African person. You can't.
Why can't you
support your own country until your own country is out, and then go support England?
And what if your country didn't make it into the World Cup? There's a lot of big teams that didn't make it into the World Cup.
Yeah, but we assume this person's team is actually in the World Cup because it's an option for them. Because the friends are saying they must be loyal to their country. So it is an option to be loyal. But you know men these days, even when they have the option to be loyal, they're not taking the option. We're assuming this is a guy because of the lack of loyalty. Sorry guys.
So yeah, just to go back to this year, though, I'm rooting for England because of Harry Kane. Look, Harry Kane has been great.
But England has not been great.
No.
England because of Harry Kane. Yeah, listen to your friends. You're basically supporting Harry Kane, you aren't supporting England, and it will probably end in tears.
Yeah,
at least Italy isn't there to bully them again. Like I did in the Euros. Was it in the Euros? Yeah. Shame. Anyway, you are not, I don't know, is this person wrong? Are they the a-hole?
I don't think they're the a-hole. Maybe I do. For once, I might agree with your approach, especially if your country's in the World Cup. Like, at least back your country, and even if you know.
Yeah, like for us.
Yeah.
That's me. I support Bafana until I don't.
Yeah, until they're gone. Full 100%.
You can't from day one support the other country if your country is in the World Cup. And this is now again crossing universes here. But the same thing goes for the All Black supporters. And now I'm stepping on toes.
Whoa. That's not even me, because I'm not an All Black supporter, but I mean, that's
a different kind of bombs. All Black supporters. We'll talk about you in our other podcasts. Okay. So there's another one. Liam, maybe you can.
Okay. So it's a very long.
Oh, this is a long one.
So I'm in a semi-competitive FPL league. I say it's semi-competitive because the commissioner won the league last season and has like 15 consecutive wins this year, even though his team is objectively crap. I other than
Isak.
other than Isak, okay, clearly we can see where this is coming from. Well, he makes the team with the highest score in each conference send a video in order to earn their weekly crown payout. Mind you, no money has ever been paid.
Oh my days.
I'm beginning to think.
Beginning.
I'm beginning to think this is
Beginning.
in the beginning,
some kind of Swedish tax evasion scheme. They have very high taxes in Sweden, but possibly very good welfare benefits as well. The commissioner had a baby last year and he's still on paternity leave. Anyways, in his latest crown video, the commissioner misspelled the name of my team, which is honestly the biggest threat to his conference dominance. I know he did it on purpose to get a mental edge on me going into our matchup this week.
Oh my word.
So I innocently pointed out the misspelling in a good-natured way, kind of just a, hey man, please respect your opponents and treat us all like human beings worthy of basic decency type of comment. But instead of apologizing for disrespecting me, he goes ahead and points out that I was one who mistakenly misspelled my own team name
Wow.
within the FPL platform. But my name is the same one I've used for years. So he should have known that the misspelled name was just a typo on the site. And he should have corrected it for his stupid video, right? So am I the asshole for pointing out the commissioner's mistake?
I understand that FPL is serious business, but no, man. It's not that deep, bruh. I'm not
Really?
gonna spend time on this, bruh.
Like, it's just a name.
And yes, you saying he spelled your name wrong on purpose to get into your head. Clearly he got into your
Yeah.
rent free, nux legacy, nux taxi. That money moved in.
That's like, when people say, you know what,
No
I'm
ways.
gonna put something on Google, I'm gonna complain, eh?
Mm.
And then, like, you're so angry, but you take the time to actually go write a review. Because whatever got
Yeah,
into your
yeah,
head,
yeah,
because it was
yeah.
that bad. Like, don't say it didn't hurt you. It hurt you.
You know what's actually hurting is the fact that he's losing to this, bruh.
Yeah, there we
You're
go.
losing to this guy. Just take it. He's playing 4D chess. He's playing mind games. Focus on your FPL team. Thank you very much. Let's do two more maybe. You said there's one about the grandpa. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, let's maybe do this one.
Okay.
And then the grandpa one last. Okay, this was a long one. It was a very long one.
Okay, it's not bad. You can go.
Okay. My female. My
Age 20.
female boyfriend.
Mm.
No, she's 20.
No, she's 20.
She's female 20. Wow. My boyfriend was, that sentence is weird. My boyfriend was going out to eat with his friends and invited me to come with him since they were bringing their girlfriends too. They were chatting and my boyfriend brought up the topic of Manchester United since the Premier League restarted.
Mm.
He said that United is doing poorly, just like the last season after the loss to Brighton. It's the same story. Then he talked about how Son should leave United, that he's wasted his career there, he's trophyless and he'll retire soon.
Wait.
Hey, this is where I spoke up, thank you. This is where I spoke up and told him that Son never played for United, he plays for Tottenham. And I told him that if you were playing for United, he would have won the trophy right now since he won the FA Cup final. He told me that I was wrong, so I showed him on my phone and he changed the topic with his friends. If your question is, should you leave your boyfriend? The answer is yes. After this was over, when my boyfriend was dropping me off, he complained to me that I didn't need to correct him in front of his friends. Wow. When he told me that I was wrong, I should have left it alone, and that me taking out my phone to prove him wrong was childish. I said that I wasn't trying to correct him in a bad way, I just wanted to show him. He told me it's a guy thing and that I shouldn't do that. He's upset that I acted like that. I didn't know what to say, so I was just silent until he dropped me off. He didn't say bye to me when we left. Wow. For some context, my boyfriend has played football since elementary and now plays for our college club. He's a student athlete. I haven't played for a team since middle school. My main hobby is football. It's just my interest. Played FIFA a lot since I was a kid. This is what we talk about, Manish. I don't know why I was so offended. Am I the AO for correcting him about this? Liam, you can go first.
This is not because we are guys, right? It's okay to not know. I would like to think that Aaron and myself, we know fairly above average or a little bit more than the average guy out there. Like we know stupid stats. But if you support a team, right? He supports United, correct?
Well, it doesn't say per se he supports United. Now, you just brought up the topic, so he doesn't necessarily support United.
But you can't get that one wrong.
There's two parts to this. One, you can't get it wrong. You can't even close your eyes and see Son in a red jersey.
No, you
It
can't.
glitches. The matrix, like my brain short-circuited now.
What's Harry Kane now? Because it's in red.
Do you think he was talking about Shinji Kagawa? Maybe he was thinking that's racist though, but that maybe was
Or Jisan Park.
Oh, Brock.
Oh. Your boyfriend's racist.
All Asian people don't look the same. Yeah, that's the talk. There's three parts. One, your boyfriend's racist. Two, your boyfriend.
He doesn't know the difference between Asian people.
Yeah, and also, one must be able to admit when you are wrong. Now, there's people watching this because people say, I don't like to admit when I'm wrong.
Same.
When I am wrong, doesn't happen often.
No?
But when I am wrong, I will tell you,
Hey.
my bad.
Mm.
This is more an ego thing for him and being corrected. The
In
other
front of his
concern is,
friend.
the other concern is you need new friends also. Because
they-
why are your friends not correcting you?
Thank you.
So this guy is insecure. I feel like he's one of those guys who think they're the leader of the friend group, but they're not.
Yeah. He's chilling. He's like chilling with what you call his friends who don't watch.
Yeah, and now you
And
want
now
to
he's the
come.
minor. No ways.
And now Gala corrected him, and now he feels like he looks swag because his girlfriend knows more than him. Well, the fact is your girlfriend does know more than you, and you need to make peace with that fact, or you need to step your game up. If she was asking me for advice, I would tell her to seriously consider having a serious conversation with him, because clearly he's insecure as well, because people who can't admit when they're wrong, I don't want to get too specific here, but yeah, it usually ends in tears.
And look, I like, a person likes a good debate here or whatever. But at the
But
end
this
of the
isn't
day,
a debate.
it's not a debate, and I'm trying to rationalize things here. But I just can't see Son in a red jersey. How did your mind do this?
How did your mind allow it?
Yeah. And Son's never had a trophy in the Premier League. Come on, man. Too
Yeah.
many red flags. That's the only thing that must be red.
Wow. So, ma'am, your boyfriend's 20. Look, he's young also. But I mean, if you've been watching since you're 16, 17, can we stop trying to justify what was happening in this guy's
But it's not like she's not 20 also.
fair enough?
See?
Fair
So
enough.
if she was like 23, 24, maybe even 25 and has a young boyfriend, then you can say, okay, no, but what does he know? You know, he's still young. They're the same age. Or last one here.
Youngsters.
So I'm going to get a bit deep now, eh? Your daddy's not around. She sits and watches the games with the daddy. Type of thing.
Probably.
They watch
And
it.
he's scared of the uncle, so he doesn't come and watch. Because her father will call him out.
Yeah.
Might be the father really called him out. Yeah, it's not looking good, bruv.
Yo.
It's not looking
Yo.
good, bruv. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. If you are even in a similar situation, feel free to send it through to us.
Please.
Yeah. Wow.
Or if you feel like,
If you feel like your boyfriend doesn't know what he's talking about,
yeah,
let us know and we'll give you our view.
yeah, we'll humble him very quickly.
Or we'll tell you that you are wrong.
Maybe just
Because we're willing and able to do that also.
I mean, a question on top of all of this is like, this is our first time doing a review with Aita.
Yeah.
So,
Aitara.
if you enjoy this, let us know and then send us a couple examples.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you want to see more of this type of thing, and we can definitely organize. I know the people who work here, so we can organize. Okay, let me want to take the last one.
Is this the?
This is the grandpa
this is the grandpa one. Okay. Okay, it's not too long. So, Emma the asshole. This happened quite a while ago during our family trip to the UK. My parents were at a business meeting when my grandpa said he secretly bought tickets for us to go watch football. He's been an Arsenal fan. Anyway, he's been an Arsenal fan for a long while now, but had never been to a match in person before. My mom didn't want him to go since he was worried. She was worried about all the
Hooliganism.
Yes, like that's a big word. Saying he's in no shape to defend himself from someone young. Okay. I read that it's greatly declined and also figured no one would try to pick a fight with a quiet, reserved 76-year-old anyway. So I went with him and nothing bad happened. When we got back to the hotel, Mom was really upset and said I was reckless and that he could have gotten hurt. In brackets, he was wearing an official cap with a logo on, showing the team he supports. You really want my take on this?
Did you?
I think a lot of things could have got wrong here. Yeah? So I understand where the mother's coming from, looking out for the 76-year-old. However, have you seen some of the 80-year-olds that are in the stadiums?
Sunatana.
So that's the one thing. Nah? So I don't think there's, especially, look, my uncle, them were one of the examples. Once they were 60, they went overseas, went to go watch. And I feel like once you hit a certain age, you go. You enjoy your time.
Do stuff.
You do stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing is, be careful when you do stuff for Arsenal.
Look, I'd say this is fine, mainly because you went to a home game as a home supporter. If you told me Arsenal's playing at St. James's and you're playing against Newcastle,
whoa,
we're playing against Leeds,
whoa,
we're playing at the Cottage, and then the uncle must walk. Who was that was in the Prem last year that didn't have a proper stadium?
Luton.
Ipswich.
Oh, sorry.
No, was it Ipswich?
Luton Town.
It was Luton.
Yeah.
You have to walk through someone's house to get into the stadium.
Yeah.
Luton Town, yeah. If it was one of those stadiums and you were a away fan, I totally understand it. In South America, I would not allow this. You don't go to a Boca Juniors game or to a River Plate game or something like that. No. But it's the Arsenal, you're a home fan and you're wearing your home kit. As a matter of fact, I'd like to believe the other fans would protect and help them because he's one of them. So yeah, I understand your mother's concern about the hooliganism, but the Arsenal fans are quite lovely people actually.
Yeah, they have to be.
Stay humble, eh?
Yeah, stay humble because you never know what's going to happen.
You never know.
So
never walk alone.
My take once again is I'm not opposed. I feel like be free.
Yeah, as long as he's still physically able, because I'm watching these stairs and stuff and all of that. As long as it's the other thing, if he's in a wheelchair and is alone or he's unstable on his feet and that I don't understand. But I mean, let the man enjoy his life. He's been a lifelong Arsenal fan. That's a once in a lifetime experience.
The only part that I don't know is who does this youngster support? Because I want to know if it was as big for him.
it doesn't seem like he supports anyone. He
Hmm.
would have probably.
I thought the mother was more upset with the youngster.
Maybe the mother doesn't like the Arsenal.
Hmm.
Who knows? But yeah, I hope the Arsenal at least won.
It's like, why support that team with all the guns?
Wow. Yeah. Anyway, no, well done, uncle, and well done, lad, for taking your grandpa.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that brings us to some news, of which there's been quite a bit over the last few days. We are recording on Sunday, and on Saturday, Man City won the FA Cup. Well done, Antoine Semenyo and co. It was then shortly thereafter it was announced, there were rumours, but it was announced that Chelsea once again have a new coach. So the interim brother will be relieved of his duties.
And it
And-
was, can we say that the news was not too shabby?
The news was not too shabby. They'll be disappointed with their performance in the FA Cup, but yeah, not too shabby. It was only 1-0. Yeah, Xabi Alonso has been announced as the new. It's not a head coach; he's the manager.
Hmm.
The manager of Chelsea, not the head coach. Apparently, there's a difference.
I didn't know there's a difference.
Yeah, maybe he just requested.
Let me just.
He requested his title. He said, "I'll come, but you're not going to call me the head coach. You're going to call me the manager."
Mm.
I don't know if behind the scenes that makes a difference and if he has more say or not. I assume so. But yeah, he's starting in July.
Okay.
He was sacked from Real Madrid in January of this year. Before that, he was at Bayer Leverkusen. So he replaces Liam Rosinho, who replaced Maresca. And yeah, just in terms of Xabi Alonso's track record, obviously he made name for himself as a coach at Bayer Leverkusen. They won their first Bundesliga title in history, and they did an invincible. They went unbeaten
Mm.
through the league season, largely thanks to Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz and Kai Havertz will always have a special place in my heart.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And that is all I want to say about that. Obviously, there's a bit of an undercurrent to this. Xabi Alonso is not only a Real Madrid legend, unfortunately, but he's also a Liverpool legend. And yeah, I don't know, some Liverpool fans probably wanted him to go to Liverpool and take that slot there because they aren't happy with the current slot. But clearly it's not going to happen. And again, it's a 4-year deal. We now go with Chelsea, 4-year deal.
4 years.
But you work 4 months and you get paid for 4 years almost. So
I got money to waste there.
yeah, so preseason starts 1 July. So he doesn't take any games now. They've still got Spurs. Chelsea still have Spurs and Sunderland under the interim McFarlane. What did you say? What did McFarlane say in this interview?
So they asked him, what are your thoughts on Chelsea getting into Europe this season? And his comments were, I don't know, I think he was upset, disappointed.
Was this after the FA Cup game?
Yeah. And probably after the news or so. And he was just like, listen, I'm just here to get into training and to the matches. You're asking somebody who's the interim, and he made it very clear. He's like, you're asking somebody who's in the interim about Europe. I'm just here to get them to training into the matches. So I don't know if you feel some kind of way.
What would it mean if Chelsea didn't get into Europe next season? What would be the implications for the club?
You're asking an interim coach what the implications of the club are going to be. I'm not privy to that information. My job is to prepare the team for games and training, which I'll be doing on Tuesday for Spurs, which is a massive game for this club.
Surely wasn't expecting the full-time job, but I think his thing is not not my monkeys, not my circus. It's like, this isn't my problem. You must see what you're going to do with your manager.
With your manager, yeah.
Not your head coach.
I was just the interim.
Yeah, not even the interim manager, just the interim. Yeah, that was the one bit of news. The other bit of news was in Manchester.
Yeah, that's a bit more exciting or a bit more hopeful. It's not that I don't believe in Xabi Alonso. I do. I really back Xabi Alonso. It's just Chelsea is a bit of a beast at times to manage. So, for those of you who know, Man United have been going through manager after manager after manager. And I think our stints with managers are a little bit longer than the Chelsea managers.
100%. And the Spurs managers.
So the last one was Ruben Amorim, and we gave him quite a bit of leeway. We gave him, the opportunity. And I'm not going to hate on the guy. Was he a bit stubborn at times? Yes. But then we got in Michael Carrick, a legend. People that don't think of him as a legend. Listen, Michael Carrick's probably what your Busquets is to you. Oh.
I love that you're saying that. We will, at this stage, insert the clip of Busquets running circles around Michael Carrick and Owen Hargreaves in the Champions League final. You want us to do that?
Look, it's fine. At the end of the day, there was
the same game where Paul Scholes couldn't touch the ball, that one.
Look, at the end of the day, there was an interview held with Rio Ferdinand and Casemiro. Because as much as we want Casemiro to stay, this is going to be the last. And he said that Carrick just has this thing. The players buy into it. That's because he comes from the successful or the better off Man United.
The Safi era.
Yeah, they trust him. And his words were, Carrick can win any game. He can play with any team. He can win any game. And the players believe that. And that's why I think with all of that said and done, they were like, okay, we're going to make you permanent. So agreement was reached, I think yesterday, day before. Contract 2 years until June 2028, option for further. And I don't think it's...
For a further year.
For a further year. So I don't think it's that they don't trust him. I think they've made mistakes in the past with doing it so long.
Like Chelsea with a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
When did I see you have a 6-year contract? I think so. Now that Xabi Alonso 4 years, and United learned from that, it seems. They're only giving Carrick 2 years. But I wonder, isn't that, you say it's not a hit because they don't have confidence in him. I would take it as, maybe you guys don't have money also, but I would take it as a lack of confidence.
I don't think so. Look, if we go straight into the record, interim record, 10 out of 15 games since taking over from Amorim, right, in January 2026. If we were to go just on Michael Carrick's record since starting, United would have been second in the Premier League. And that's losing, I think, one game. I might be wrong there, but I think we just lost one game. And
it's one or two, it's not more than two, yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, I think we can say it. I mean, it doesn't matter what happens now. United's going to stay third. Champions League spot is secured. It was secured already. Loss. Game week already. And I much so want to talk about the key win. Yes, over Liverpool. We should talk about the key wins. We've beaten every top 6 team. So you can see that experience. Well, I'm gonna assume from the dressing room, those players want to believe in the manager. But it's like this thing, man. You know, when you enter a new job, someone from outside, and they just don't believe you. They think like, look, you don't know what's happening here. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, but Carrick clearly has a reputation, and they trust it. And it's not somebody with an overly huge ego.
Yeah, he's super ambitious, too ambitious or whatever.
Yeah, like he's coming, it's like, look, guys, I used to play in midfield. I was there. I understand, the history of the club. And I was not the main guy. That type of thing.
But you can say the same about Gary Neville.
No, Gary Neville was captain. Come on, at some point. Even Ole, no? Ole won't say he's the main guy, but he was more of a focal point than Michael Carrick.
Fair enough.
So yeah, we in a UEFA Champions League spot. happy about that. It's going to really test United. I know Aaron is waiting for this to say, okay, let's see what you can do now that you play more games.
100%, that's what I'm going to say. You see, the thing is, it's like doing a job part-time.
No, you can't say that.
And then you get appointed full-time. Now, can you still do the same thing? It's like if you were seasonal and then you get made permanent, then you don't work like you work when you were seasonal.
Okay.
So I'm cautiously optimistic. I just find it very dodgy that Ineos only gave him a 2-year contract. So I think they might be hedging their bets in case things don't go right. But
But
yeah,
look-
no, all the best to Carrick at the wheel. I look forward to the memes.
No, it's gonna be good. I think we also have to be real here. As great as he has done with the team that he has, there is some rebuilding to do. You're losing Casemiro, who didn't perform with
This Amaran. That's formation, man.
was the formation, and now we're gonna have to rebuild there. Couple at the back. I'm not sure if he's gonna clean out, but just by what I've seen, I don't think Carrick is the type to kind of clean out. It's like, listen, he can make it work with anyone.
Famous last words.
He can make it work with anyone.
Okay, Luke Shaw.
Remember, we are playing this Premier League with Carrick with injuries. There are teams in the Premier League that don't have injuries or have won. We went with, I don't know how many defenders that were out, and did you ever hear me complain once?
When Mazraoui was playing centre back.
Yeah.
What a time to be that. Mazraoui played centre back and right wing.
Yeah.
And he's played in the midfield.
Exactly.
What a guy. So, it was actually a decent signing for you guys. In terms of his usefulness.
Thank you. That is my thing.
In terms of his usefulness. He's a useful oak to have around the house, you know. He can fix the plumbing, he can fix the electrical. Mazraoui can do it all, you know. It's almost like Camavinga there at Real Madrid when they're not busy beating each other up. But yeah, Wolf Day.
So yeah.
Yeah, so it is the end of the season. So
one more game to go.
Yeah, and it's award season now. As the season closes out, so we have some nominees here from the Premier League for Player of the Season, Manager of the Season, and Young Player of the Season. So we're going to be looking at these, and we'll be making our calls. And feel free in the comments. Let's you see your calls. Let's debate them a bit. So,
and please, if you are not too familiar, because my wife does this, if you're not too familiar with the players, please maybe just go do a young search over there and not comment who has the most exciting name or something like that.
Listen, if you want to comment who has the most exciting name and make your pick based on that, go for it. Just comment below and we can talk about it. We can help you in the right direction. So, yeah.
As long as Son is not from United.
Yeah, Son does not play for United. And we've put here what teams they play for as well. So, please. So, Player of the Season nominees, Liam will be happy to see there. Bruno Fernandes, Gabriel, Morgan Gibbs-White, Erling Haaland, David Raya, Declan Rice, Antoine Semenyo, and Igor Thiago. Right. So, I wonder. Look, it's this type of thing is difficult because it's difficult to compare because I mean you have a goalkeeper in there, you have attackers, you have defenders. Yeah, I mean if you look at Bruno, this is now as at yesterday, the stats as at 16th of May. 8 goals, 19 assists, most assists for the season. He's one off that record. I don't know if you got assists now against Forest maybe.
So he's equal.
So he's equal to the record. Chances created. He's basically rewriting De Bruyne's records, unfortunately. Passed it.
He surpassed the record.
What a guy. I mean, then you have Gabriel, who's been the anchor of the best defense in the league. Conceded 26 goals in 36 games. Gibbs-White got his face busted open. Surely gets an award for that. Yeah, he's got 13 goals, nearly double his previous best. nominated for the second season, and in April he got 4 goals and assists in 3 games. Then we have, I don't know, probably the most popular pick is Erling Haaland, 26 goals. He's in the lead for the Golden Boot, and Thiago
It was
is behind him.
was very close.
He's leading by 4 goals, 100 goals in 111 games, 13 fewer than Shearer.
You won't make it though, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Then we've got the two Arsenal lads. David Raya, 18 clean sheets. Only Premier League keeper since Schmeichel with a real shot at the player of the season. Ever present, played every minute. Liam's favourite, Declan Rice, 4 goals, 5 assists, played 3,000 minutes, only missed 1 game. Highest expected assist from set pieces, and that's why Liam always has him in his team. Then we've got Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth/Brighton, 16 goals, 4 assists. Joined City in Jan and won the Fair Player of the Month. He scored the winner in the FA Cup final yesterday. And in the last, we have Igor Thiago from Brentford, 22 goals. Behind Haaland, and he's second in that
Really
race.
not bad, eh?
Very proper. I mean, a Brentford striker scoring 22 goals. Like, your favourite striker hasn't scored 22 goals. So,
Can we just say, right? You know what's going to happen there, eh? It happens with all the Brentford players.
he's going to move.
You're going to move. You're going to do well there. You're going to move.
Maybe another season. What happened to Wissam? I feel like Wissam went downhill at Newcastle.
Yeah, he went down here because he wasn't first choice.
Goodness. Liam, given all of that, your pick.
My pick from the player of the season.
Yeah. Who would you pick? Not who do you think is going to win.
Okay.
If you could pick the winner, who would you pick?
I would have to pick Bruno, eh?
Really? I didn't see that one coming.
It's not because I'm a United supporter. You know, I'm big on the consistency thing. So it's between Bruno. Look, if we were to break it down, what I actually wanted to tell you, if we were to break it down, midfielders versus defenders, but there's only Gabriel in there, versus keeper, but there's only David Raya.
Yeah.
So I think out of all of the midfielders, he is the most consistent option. Because Morgan Gibbs White, I can tell you for a while, probably like I think it was 6 to 8 game weeks, he just wasn't there. Declan Rice had a great start, and then also took a bit of a dip. And then I thought to myself, but you can really feel when he's not here. Not really. In that time, there wasn't such a big difference without him. David Raya, so here's where we're going to get a bit controversial again, especially when it comes to Arsenal. He's been the best keeper, yes, but every other team has been fraud. So
That doesn't make him less good.
No, but I'm saying, like, what is it based on? Clean sheets?
Clean sheets.
No, man.
Clean sheets. What else are you going to base it on?
Saves.
Yeah, but saves speaks to a poor defense. He doesn't have saves to make.
Exactly.
That's not his fault. He's got a defense in front of him.
How can you say that he's the best keeper? I know. I'm probably not making sense to you, right?
No, I get what you mean, because he hasn't had that much work to do.
There you go.
So you'd rather want to put Pickford there.
There you go.
We had lots of work to do and did the work.
So put someone who's had no work and put someone who's had almost like you have expected goals.
Yeah.
Let's see who actually when there was opportunity one-on-ones.
Fair enough. I hear you. I actually agree with you there.
So player of the season for me, it's between it's tough. It's got to be between Gabriel and Bruno Fernandes.
Really?
Nothing against Erling Haaland. He's just another level, but he did take a dip in the season. And if it wasn't for his hat-tricks and things like that, he would not be up here.
Yeah, but you realize what you're saying now.
I know.
If it wasn't for him scoring goals, he wouldn't be a top goal scorer.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
That is what you're
I'm saying throughout all of the game weeks, he can have 5. Right now, that was first.
Liam, no one else is scoring hat-tricks in the league.
So you can score hat-trick and you don't score for like 6 games.
Listen, and I'm starting to buy into the critique against Haaland, but they say he's missing in big games. He is missing in big games, to be honest. I don't know what it is. If the opposition has just figured him out, or if it's the way they play in big games. I don't think it's that. I just think he's been figured out.
They block him.
Yeah. So my pick, if you care to know.
Go for it. I know where it's going.
Do you think I'm going to say Haaland?
Mm-mm.
Oh. Then you know I'm going to say it's Antoine Semenyo.
Mm. He deserves it.
For me, someone who can be top at Bournemouth, doing the things there in January, middle of the season, go over to another club like City and hit the ground running, play almost every game, and continue scoring goals. That deserves respect. So for that reason, I'd say he's my pick.
Okay.
And he scored.
It's not a bad pick.
And he scored the winning goal.
He was my third option.
Third option. Wow. Poor Antoine. Right then, managers of the season. I feel like we know where we're going with this. I don't even want to look at the stats because I feel like I know what it's going to be. We have Keith Andrews at Brentford. Yeah, he came in after Uncle Frank beat United, Liverpool, and Villa. We have Mikelito Arteta, top of the table with 2 games to go, 16 wins with clean sheets, on the brink of Arsenal's first title in 22 years. Then we have Uncle Carrick, took over from Amarin, 110 out of 15. UCL qualification secured. Then we have Uncle Pep, title hope is still alive, won the FA Cup, double domestic Carabao and FA Cup. He's going for his 6th Manager of the Season award. Only Fergie has more. Chef. Areola at Bournemouth, 6th place, unbeaten in the last 16, sorry. And this is something that you must take into account. They lost Dean Huyson, they lost Sabani, they lost Kirkies, and they lost Semenyo.
And still
they're 6th place. They only lost 7 games. That's impressive. And then we have Roger Lebris at Sunderland. Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Promoted side. They were never in relegation danger. 11 clean sheets. Most by promoted clubs and Leeds. Are you telling me Bielsa's Leeds had 12 clean sheets?
Yeah, that time.
Yeah, but the games were like 4-3, 5-4. It was chaos. So top off finished 7 play. So that's the underdog pick. Yeah, it's probably only one winner here. The Manager of the Season.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll give my 2. You can give me your 2.
So I'll go for. Look, the thing with Arteta is, yes, he's doing it now, but he should have done it years ago. This is modern day football, and yes, there's a project and there's a process. By that logic, say they win the league and the Champions League now, but I say now wait another 6 years before they win something again. Is that what it is? You win every 6 years because it's anyway. For me, it's Carrick, followed by Areola at Bournemouth. Because I said Carrick.
No, because we agree. We have the same top 2.
Yeah, that's Carrick and Areola.
There isn't a better story.
Yeah.
Carrick walks in, takes the team, doesn't ask a lot of
questions. The roof is leaking, they don't have gym equipment, the staff don't get food vouchers, the players have to pay for their own transport. Can't make that one up.
And please don't get it wrong, don't get it twisted that Pep deserves to be there also, right?
It's just boring now.
It's just boring. So like, Pep's also had a couple of knocks, right? But then again, it's to your point that Pep Arteta has been playing more games. So I might even, and as much as I don't want to, I might even put Arteta above Pep because they made it all the way to the Champions League final.
Yeah.
You know? So they still play.
That's got to count for something, yeah.
But then I also don't want to count count out Sunderland because nobody expected them to play the way they did. And even though they dropped, I mean, they were top 6 for what? More than half of the season. And they're not getting relegated. And that's whatever funds they have. So I think they can just do better things. But
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what Sunderland gets up to next season. So yeah, then we have the youngsters to wrap up with. Yeah, again, I think there's only one winner here for me.
yeah, no,
Maybe
I
two.
don't think he would fall in there. But okay.
How old Ryan Jerky? Did you see he took a selfie with the royalty? What a guy. How old is Jerky? But anyway, 4 goals, 12 assists. Only second to a certain Bruno Fernandes. He has the best assists per 90, best big chances per 90. Yeah, guys, just next level. Then Matheus Fernandes, 3 goals, 3 assists. 87% pass accuracy, tempo midfielder.
He deserves a move.
Matheus Fernandes, and then Lewis Hall.
He did well, eh? He did well.
He played well against Barcelona. 154 deals won, 125 on possession regained. Proper player. At Brentford we have Coyote. Wow, 160 long throws into the box. 15 chances created. 203 deals won. Proper player. Junior Krupi has been quite something. 12 goals in debut season. Equals Robbie Fowler and Keane's records.
Yeah.
27% shot conversion. That's high. Gee was a goal every 121 minutes, only second to Haaland. Then we have Liam's boy, Kobe Mainu.
That stat is interesting.
1 goal, 2 assists, 26 appearances. Only, so he played 1,400 minutes under Carrick.
No.
Before that,
Yeah.
he only played 211 minutes. Let me say this again. He played 1,400 minutes. Before that, he only played 211. Clearly Amarin. Yeah, United won 17 out of 26 with him in the side, 86% pass accuracy. Scored against Liverpool, claim to fame. Then we have the guy burst into the scene. Nico O'Reilly, 5 goals, 3 assists. 33 appearances. Only Bernardo Silva and Haaland have more. He won the Premier League Academy Graduate of the Year. And he scored both goals in the win against Newcastle.
Before you carry on, I just want to throw a spanner in the works. How do you know Nico O'Reilly won't become like Rico Lewis? Rico Lewis had a great season last year.
Yeah, but I don't know I need to know what is going on with Rico Lewis.
Nothing. Just wasn't.
So O'Reilly is just a new Rico Lewis, and maybe next year there's a new O'Reilly.
Because remember, I don't know, I think it was Matthias, no? Nunes. He got there before. He's been there a while, no? 3 seasons. And I'm sure they used him at the back before, now they use him on the other side.
He's playing right back.
Yeah, he plays right. And then Rico Lewis played there. Remember?
The thing is, Walker was still there that time when Rico Lewis was playing, and him and Walker used to alternate. But yeah, if anyone knows what happened to Rico Lewis, please let us know in the comments. And then we have lastly Alex Scott from Bournemouth. 3 goals, 1 assist, ever present, 184 possession regains, top 4 in the Premier League. He scored a winner at Arsenal past Raya. So for me, I'm torn between 2.
And it's both City players probably.
Yeah, but I just want to know, excuse me while I check this. I want to know how old Jerky is. Yes, Ryan Jerky.
22.
He's 22. Yeah. For me, it's a tie. I can't really choose. Okay, obviously we're talking about Jerky and O'Reilly here. For me, it's a tie between the two. I can't really pick one. They both stand out for different reasons. They both change the game when they're present. Literally, both of them you can bring on when you need a winner, or when you need to hold the ball and contain the game. So yeah, it's been the two city lights for me.
Look, if I was forced to pick one, as much as I want to choose Jerky, I'm gonna have to choose O'Reilly because
Probably.
can get back and come move forward
Yeah.
and rotate.
O'Reilly probably does edge it, yeah.
And he's been playing since the beginning.
And Jerky does his job, but really well. O'Reilly does his job and another job. Yeah, okay. O'Reilly takes it for us then. Cool. And then just to wrap up, it's only right if we take a look back at the season. Well, there's still games going on now. And there's still gaming 38, but yeah, let's draw a line in the sand here and have a look at the good, the bad.
Never ready.
Yeah, Liam's not ready, but I mean, there's always next season for both of us. So yeah, currently, and we'll add the numbers here. Currently, my overall rank is 218k. So I think last year I finished similar, 200 odd k. For me, with overall, I just want to improve every year. Like, I don't have a specific number in mind. I just want to improve.
Not top 50?
I want to improve. If it's
Okay.
top 50 or top whatever, I just don't want to go down from the previous year. But we'll add the numbers here. And in South Africa, 3k. So proud of that one. I think the highest I've been was 2 point something k in South Africa. And yeah, we'll see where it ends. I do still have a triple captain, which I'm not attaching much value to. Yeah, my biggest game week score was in game week 33. Bench boost, 117 points. And then my worst was game week 11 with a 4. I actually thought it was now 2-3 game weeks ago. Actually, it's not. It's game week 11. But I got a whole 34 points. I know some people with 34 points on their bench. So, yeah. and the best captaincy call I made was in game week 17 with a Haaland triple captain there, which actually paid off. Obviously, this season we have 2 chips. So my first triple captain paid off. Got a 48 pointer there from Braut Erling. Liam, Rosinho.
No. Don't ever do that. No. Mm-mm.
Oh, what? It's the first time I called you Liam Rosinho.
Please. Anyway, so my overall rank is just somewhere over 218,000.
Tad.
A tad over, yeah, a couple of more. And then in SA, 106,000.
Where did you end last year overall? Better or worse than this?
It really depends how my last 2 weeks are. I could do better.
In that bracket, there's a lot of...
I don't think people understand.
3
like,
points can move you a few 100,000 places.
people won't understand. Like, you can be, in your final games, you can go anywhere from 1 million rank to 500,000.
Yeah.
Or you can have 5 points that is very bad, or blank somewhere, and you can go from 1 million to 2 million. So
Yep.
the last 2 games are more than
Yeah,
last
there's
couple
still a
of
lot
games.
of swing.
My best game week was in game week 29, 96 points. No chips, believe it or not.
That's proper for no chips.
And my worst one was, see, when it's worst, it's really the worst. Game week 12, 27 points. Not sure what happened there.
And mine was an 11. That was a tough period for FPL.
I feel like something happened around that game week or so. But I must just go double check. And my best captaincy, I think, was also Haaland in game week 6, 32 points. And then,
Oh, I didn't say my worst captaincy call, but yeah, go ahead.
yeah, my worst captaincy call was Paqueta at Ayer, a fat zero. And it happens. It happens sometimes. And for me, a lot of the time it's because I do my team early.
Mm.
And I know I shouldn't, but I try to get the players before the price increases.
So for me, I got it out of the way early. My worst captaincy goal was in game week 2 with João Pedro. Chelsea. 0. Yeah, so that was us for the season. And this is us for the season on the other half. So thank you for everyone who has joined us on this journey. We really appreciate it. We are looking forward to season 2. We will be having a lot more World Cup content coming up.
Yeah, please, wherever you are and watching, drop a comment, maybe like who you supporting, where you from, who you backing in the World Cup type of thing. And we'll make sure to have some comments and
Yeah,
around these teams.
let us know what you want to see around the World Cup. We're going to try and keep it interesting, and we're looking forward to it. But yeah, thanks for the support so far. See you in season 2. Cheers.